Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside GB Gerard Bonner and the lovely Diana Michelle. And we are coming off of an amazing show. I'm still buzzing from last week, guys. We were sending 2022 out in a big way. How are you guys feeling after SHW46?
Man, that show, every match, every single match. I was taking notes and I was like, yeah, we got to talk about that. And shut up, Zach. Oh my God. And we got to talk about this. And yeah, it was one of those shows that if you missed that one, ooh. Ooh.
We talk about it all the time, GB. It's all about moments, and the way it ended with Gunner's son coming in there. We'll get to this. We're going to give you a recap of the whole thing, but what a moment to end that show.
Absolutely. It's so good.
Yeah, it was a night of moments for sure, and we'll definitely dig into it. But it was also our kind of 3-year anniversary show as V3, and so it was just special all the way around. And so shout out to all of you who were in the action building. And if you weren't, be sure to keep checking on IWTV. When it shows up, it'll probably be a good thing for you to watch before Christmas time.
There you go. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Every match on this card, we said it in the pre-show prior to SHW46 that it was one of those, every match could steal the show, you know?
Absolutely.
And it felt that way. Every single match, I was like, I don't know how the next one's going to top this. But somehow, some way, everything just kept topping. It was a great, great night. So let's get into it here. Forgive the voice. I'm powering through here. It's that time of the year, you know, it's like 70 degrees one day, it's 40 degrees the next day. It won't make up its mind. And this is the result.
Friday night.
There you go. So first match of the night, actually before the first match of the night, we couldn't even really get underway. Diana was trying to welcome the crowd to the action building. Meanwhile, up on the stage, Gunnar Miller's being thrown through the curtain from the back by 3 members of Dishonor, 4 if you include Brooklyn. And they were beating him down.
She got a few licks in. I saw her.
Did she? Yeah. So, you had Gunnar Miller. He was getting beat down by Dishonor to start the show. And that left us wondering, you know, is he going to make it to the main event?
Well, I mean, they brutalized him pretty much. Yeah. Drug him to the ring, battered his leg, his knee, his ankle. I mean, everything you can imagine that they could do to his leg. Yeah. They did. They wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be available for this title match at the end of the show. And I'm just going to say they failed miserably. I mean, oh my God, it was awesome.
Yeah,
he's a fighter.
He is a fighter. It was a great idea on paper for sure. And certainly it surprised all of us. It certainly looked like they were successful because we've not seen Gunnar Miller take that kind of a beating and then return in the same night. Think about what happened with Tank, you know, and how Tank almost, you know, ended his career in life. You know, he didn't show back up later. So it was interesting to see what his drive would be like. And I felt like, Diana, you know, we had been talking so much on this podcast. You talked about how distracted he would often get and couldn't be laser focused. I think this was another distraction for Gunnar Miller. And the question was whether or not he could overcome that distraction.
Well, Kyle Matthews made it out there a little too late, however, but he did run off Dishonor, and they were able to get Gunnar taken to the back. Again, we weren't sure what that meant for later in the show, but the show must go on, and we got on with our match number 1, which was technically match number 3 in the best of 7 series between Owen Knight and Najicism. Both guys always put on an amazing show. And when they get in the ring, it's like magic when they're in the ring together. And I mean, it was a hot way to start off SHW46, that's for sure.
Yes. And like I said, I didn't get to see the first 2 matches of the series, but if it was anything like match number 3, oh my God, whoever was there got a treat. And I noticed, I mean, I was trying to record a little bit for my little socials, and I saw GB, I saw your reel, and I was like, oh, we got some of the same moments. Oh God.
That's crazy.
So good.
Different angles.
Different angles. It was just, I don't know. Them two together are fire. Period. Period. Any setting. It could be a main event anywhere. It was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I know there's a lot of talk about the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, which that gala is coming up in about 6 weeks or so. So you can certainly get your tickets for that. And we'll be finding out soon enough who the nominees are. But I definitely think those two have to be in several categories. They both had tremendous years. And I think to myself, as great as these best of 7 matches are, there's a part of me that wonders, whatever the last match is, if it's match 5, 6, or 7, does this end with a new tag team?
Oh my God.
Think about it. Some of the best of 7 matches have given us great tag teams. You know, we think about rivalries like Kyle Matthews and Chip Day. We think about The Bar, you know, Cesaro and Sheamus. Like, it's when you get into these kinds of fights, you realize we are better together than we are apart. I personally would love, can you imagine those two perhaps coming together, being the team to take on Dishonor, Happy Madness, for the tag titles?
Wow.
I'm for it.
Just thinking out loud.
Can we do that next month?
I'd love that. I'd love that.
You know, I'm curious because I know there was like 6. There may have been 7 different promotions. It may have just been 6 though. I'm not sure because we could end up getting match 7. I don't know. I'm not sure where that falls in the series of best of 7, but so who knows what's going to happen next month? We still got a good ways to go. We do know one main event that's going to be happening, and we'll get to that at the end of this episode. Here's a teaser for you in case you haven't heard yet or seen the poster on social media. But anyways, amazing way to start the show. And moving on down the card here, we had Murder One taking on Adrian Hawkins of the Approved. 2 men that know each other very well, very long history there. Murder, of course, has had a bit of a back and forth with Joe Black, to say the least, over the last couple of months. And so we weren't sure if that would come into play here. But a fun match, a hard-hitting match.
Yes.
And Murder able to come out on top here in this one.
Murder absolutely assaulted him.
Yeah. A little bit.
Start to finish. I mean, it was almost, my heart was going out to him, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, it was amazing. Adrian hasn't always been the nicest to me, and that's fine because that's what they do. Whatever.
You're not the only one. I don't
ask for people just to be nice to me. That's fine. But to see Murder come out and actually do what he does and what he has been known to do all these years and put it in to a match like this with Adrian Hawkins, holy crap. It was like, this is the guy, okay? This is the guy everybody's been talking about, because all I've seen lately is just the talking, the cage match, you know, the war games. This is him entering, doing his thing, and it's good.
It was good. He's been doing this now for 31 years, which is pretty amazing. Like, these 31-year veterans today, I mean, they're built different than the 30-year veterans from 10, 15 years ago. He's still in great shape. He still knows what he needs to do. And even though he got a little distracted, he managed to regain his focus, which I think was of super importance. And, you know, certainly while he was not nice to his opponent, who was indeed nice, is one Rob Rod, who wrote a report about this show, and it was great. And one of the things that he said was that our own Diana, her outfit was so good it could make
Let's not. Let's go read it.
It could make you play for another team. He was ready to trade his jersey in. That's how good Diana is. So people were being nice to her even when Murder or anybody else was not, which is exciting. But I'll tell you this.
Always been good. It was Adrian that's
Adrian got beat down for not being nice. So there's that. And then of course at the end, a very scathing again promo by Murder One, which you know, now let me be clear. I don't think that Joe Black's reign as the promo king is in danger.
Right.
But I do think he has met somebody who has the ability to go blow for blow with him in a promo. And so whenever either of those two men get a microphone, my eyes are wide open, my ears are attentive, the phone goes down. I need to hear everything they have to say. And he dropped a bit of a bombshell at the end of that match.
He did.
He did. And you reminded me, GB, this is a good reminder to let everybody know. If you're watching us right now during our premiere, you still have time to get to the Action Building because doors open at 7:30 and bell time is at 8 for the F the Titanic, Save the Iceberg show. It's a benefit and tribute to Iceberg, a legend here in Georgia in the Southeast, and one of the big men, the big scary monsters, one of the legends. And for some medical bills and some medical stuff that he's going through, all the proceeds are going to him to help him with that. But it's a stacked card. And back to your point, GB, after the match the other night, you're right. Murder One calling Joe Black out for tonight's show for Iceberg, and it's going to be a 6-man tag team match. You're going to have Murder One teaming with Tank, teaming with David Young, going up against Dishonor, which would be Joe Black and Happy Madness. So, and like you said, I think if the powers that be at SHW put this into motion and sign the dotted line, if Murder's team wins tonight, then Murder will get Joe Black one-on-one at an SHW show sometime, hopefully sooner than later. So we'll see. But that's going to be exciting.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. So that's another great show at the Action Building tonight. You still have time to get out there and check it out. Tickets on sale at the door, and all proceeds go to Iceberg. So moving on down the line here, the next card, or the next match on the card, Jordan Kingsley, Shoot Taylor making his singles match debut here at SHW. And GB, I said this going into the match. I think I even said it on the pre-show before the show started. I thought this was going to be one of the most high-flying matches we were ever going to see.
Yeah.
But instead, and GB, you brought it up to us that, Shoot is an amateur wrestler dating back to when he was like, what'd you say, 6 years old?
In the 6th grade.
Or sixth grade. Wow. That's what it was. So it ended up being way more mat wrestling and a little chain wrestling than I even anticipated, and a lot less aerial stuff than I thought. But it was still an amazing matchup. What'd you guys think?
Do you think Jordan was ready for that? Because he likes the high flying. I think it really caught him off guard.
Yeah.
And Shoot really showed his ability to be great. He did. And boy, he's a good heel. Is he not? I like it.
Yeah.
I like
you liked him, Bad Boys.
I kind of do. I do to an extent. To an extent. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I like this one. one.
Yeah, Shoot Taylor is very, very special. I've had obviously the opportunity to see him in some other spaces. So making his SHW debut, I think to your point, Diana and Brandon, I think Jordan also thought this was going to be a high-flying affair. So he was prepared for that. So for it to be a ground game, I think definitely caused him to have to alter his strategy mid-match. And I don't know that he ever got on. Because then at the times where, Kingsley thought that Shoot would only go ground attack, then he'd go aerial, right? Like it was brilliant. And I said it then, and I'll say it again. We are identifying the next big star in our promotion. I said it a couple of years about Carly Brown. I'm saying that right now about Shoot Taylor. You will be hearing about this man an awful lot in 2023. And so I hope you, as the SHW faithful, take full advantage of the opportunities to see him, because he's got it.
Yeah. I can't wait. I hope we see him a lot more, as you mentioned, in SHW, because he's a fun one to watch. And he's one that we saw from day one at the Nightmare Factory, GB.
That's right.
Over the last couple of years, and like you said, other spaces around Georgia. So he's a fun one. And look forward to seeing more of that. And Jordan Kingsley, can't take away from him. I mean, he put on an amazing show as well. He's had a pretty solid year up to this point. It didn't go his way this past Friday, but 2023, it's a new year, turn a new leaf, and hope to start off on a right foot. So
he definitely had a better 22 than he did 21.
Absolutely.
That's true. Either way, it's a win for Jordan. So we'll see what he can do next year.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, moving on down the line, one of Diana's favorites was in the house.
Oh, yes.
The frat daddy, or frat boy, as Diana calls him. Yeah.
It's frat boy. He has merch that says frat boy, and that's what he is.
Him and his multiple pop collar polo shirts. I'm talking about Bryce Cannon, of course, was in the house at SHW46 to take on the returning monster that is Cyrus the Destroyer. And it kind of went about the way I expected, because I felt like Bryce would catch a beatdown, which he did, but I also felt like Exotic Youth would somehow get involved, which they did. Due to disqualification, Cyrus still came away with the win. Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
He needed that. He would have gotten up and put them all three.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming via DQ, but it did.
Yeah.
But man, do these three guys have a death wish, because they are attacking Cyrus with chairs and like, are they crazy? What's wrong with these guys?
Well, they're not known for their smarts and wits, okay? I mean, they're not. Bryce is still claiming to be in a fraternity, and he's supposed to be a daddy now. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Is he still stuck? I don't know. But they're not the smartest team there is, obviously. And you don't come into a new promotion. I don't care how many times you've visited, but you don't be rude to the lady of the house, first of all. Because that could have been the first beatdown that Bryce would have encountered that night, and then Cyrus could have finished him off.
One of my favorite pictures was Diana. I don't know. Did you actually kick him in the butt, or were you just about to?
But I did not. I didn't put my hands on anybody that I was supposed to put my hands on. But did I want to? Did I want to?
I love it.
Oh my God! But Exotic Youth has been known for their skinty little tactics and their little sneaky ways, and it was expected. I mentioned it before. I was like, he's not going to come alone, and he didn't. I didn't expect them to actually put Cyrus on the mat. But how many chair shots can you take to the back after you've been on an airplane from Japan,
right?
Fighting in Japan,
right? Not to mention, he literally came, like, I'm pretty sure it's straight from the airport. Like, he
came from the airport. Yeah,
and think about like jet lag and all that stuff.
Yeah, then you got to come and deal with children. Come on, But it's fun. Because, like you said, they obviously have a death wish, and I'm for it. I'm all for
it. Absolutely. I think Bryce Cannon probably listened to a certain song before he came out and kind of got the words confused. Our friends Earth, Wind, and Fire tell you, keep your head to the sky. And I think he thought that meant keep your hair to the sky, as his hair certainly pointed north.
Please put up the side-by-side right here. Please just put up the side-by-side right here.
There. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. He and ironically, Cyrus kind of put his hands all over that and altered the direction. It was beautiful to see. It was great to see Cyrus back again. He is literally an international superstar, and it is a great thing to have him here at SHW. I wonder what happens next, because if I am Exotic Youth, I'm staying very, very far away from Cyrus.
They're not smart enough for that.
Well, you've said that, which makes me wonder what if anything is next between these four individuals. I think they ought to just be glad that they didn't leave with a loss via pinfall, or that they actually were able to walk out of the building. So,
well, two of them did. Bryce actually crawled.
Wow, that part. That's because his hair wasn't pointing in the right direction.
I know, right? Well, Pepper might have just bounced out, because when he went up and just bounced off of Cyrus, I was like, he's about to fly up into the crowd. That was amazing. Yeah, I want to see that over and over again. Can you do me a reel that just knocks him into Cyrus? I want to see that. Somebody set that up.
That would be hilarious.
Oh,
hilarious.
Very much so good. So good.
Well, after that match, we had what was I think had some mixed opinions from different folks coming into the show when we saw the preview video earlier in the week of Mr. Bagwell's neighborhood. in the video, it talked about, shows like the Jericho highlight reel or Piper's Pit. So we're thinking something in the vein, maybe some sort of interview type segment is what we were, I guess, expecting. But it was a whole different side of Buff Bagwell that we've ever seen before. When he was at our show at the anniversary, he was regular old Buff, wearing the black and white, the NWO colors, joining us on commentary. And he just seemed like regular old Buff Bagwell. And, living with at the DDP crib, the DDP-wide crib, accountability crib, and doing all these things with DDP, it's got him like a whole new mindset. I don't know. It's very strange, right? So we knew that he was going to show up. We knew that he was going to call out Nick Halen, who he wanted to offer an apology to for the confrontation they had at the anniversary show. Well, that did happen. But then we also got a surprise appearance by Santa Claus and his elf. And I don't know. I'll let you guys take it from there. But what you guys think? It was a fun segment overall, but it actually led us into an impromptu matchup.
Buff sang.
Yeah.
He did. Wow.
I don't know if he got the words right. I don't know if he got the words right.
I don't even know what the words are, but Buff sang.
Yeah.
It was Mr. Bagwell's neighborhood, so it's whatever words he wanted to sing. But yes, he was very nice, calling Mr. Halen out, not Van, Nick.
Right.
Calling him out to apologize for cracking him over the back with his crutch and trying to make amends. Nick wasn't having it. He was being very rude. And I get it. He was probably, gun shy. I mean, somebody comes at you with a crutch over the back. Of course, you're not going to be so nice to them the next encounter you have. But I think he was genuine. Santa. I mean, what's more peaceful than Santa and an elf throwing candy canes? Come on.
Santa was not drinking milk, by the way. It was a Miller Lite, of all things.
Yeah,
that's right. Or was it a Pat Split Ribbon?
I think it was a Miller Lite. Well, it was Miller Lite. It was a Miller Lite because that was the giveaway to the fans at ringside. The fans next to us told us. They said, "Oh, we saw the Miller Lite and we knew it was Matt Sells right away."
Well, good for them.
There you go.
Santa Sells. Yeah. Santa Sells.
Indeed, Santa Sells. A very impromptu match, an unexpected situation, and a proof again that you never know what's going to happen at an SHW event. And oddly enough, Nick Halen, not to be confused with Van Halen, gets the win. And does so with kind of ripping off some of Buff's moves, which is kind of a why again. So interesting trip into Mr. Bagwell's neighborhood. And I certainly did not expect Nick Halen to get the win, but he did. Very interesting developments here in SHW.
It sure was.
I'd like to revisit Mr. Bagwell's neighborhood, see what's going on down there.
Yeah, who knows what's next? Who knows if he'll return? And I will say, though, that was Matt Sells' SHW debut, or singles debut at least. I don't remember. Has he been in a Rumble Jack? I don't know.
I don't think so.
It was definitely, singles match debut. And it was, Santa from Matlanta, whatever you want to call him. But it was fun to see him there because I've seen him at other places as well. And he's a lot of fun when I've seen him other places. And so it's good to finally see him make it to the Action Building in an SHW show. So a fun match there, an impromptu match, unexpected. Like GB said, you never know what to expect. But that led us into a match that a lot of us had been looking forward to ever since it had been announced, and that being Chip Day versus Sean Legacy. Sean Legacy, of course, being chosen by Pro Wrestling Noah during a tryout a few weeks ago to be he's going to go over to Japan and take a tour with Noah, and Chip Day was a part of that as well. And apparently on that trip, and Chip even said this before the match, he grabbed the microphone, wanted to address the way he had been acting over the last few months with Kyle, kind of almost an apology of sorts to the crowd. And then also letting us know that he and Sean had spent a lot of time together and become pretty close friends over the last couple of months. And there were a few people in the crowd, well, one in particular that was giving him the business, and Chip didn't hold anything back and gave the business right back, which I think the rest of the crowd appreciated. So, you know what? You paid your money, you paid a ticket to get in there, so you can say, I guess, do whatever you want. But don't get upset when they give it right back to you. So,
absolutely.
Anyways, it was good to see Chip out there and kind of trying to, I guess, make amends a little bit for the way he's been acting over the last several months. But what an incredible matchup. I had mentioned to you guys before the show, yeah, Sean was at the Rumble Jack a couple of months ago, but it had been like a year and a half, maybe even closer to 2 years since he had a singles match in SHW. And this was his first time back. He actually got a couple of warm welcome back chants from the crowd. And boy, oh boy, has he just gotten better and better with time, aging like a fine wine, because and he's on top where at the other promotions he goes to, he's always on top. But the last time I'd seen him in a singles match, I feel like he's improved quite a bit, and it's just gotten better and better. Obviously, he's going to Noah for a tour, so clearly he's gotten better. But what a match these two had.
Yes, I met Sean at the first promotion that I worked for back in 2018.
Okay.
And we did our little backstage interviews. I got to watch, him wrestle, and from then until now, oh my gosh, the improvement is ridiculous. I mean, he was always in good shape, and now he's like, holy crap, the dude is in great shape.
Right.
I mean, he's definitely, if he's walking through and you're at a show, you want to see this guy come out, because oh God, yeah, he's definitely got the look. He's definitely got the ability. He has taken his chances to learn from everybody that he's been around. He's got this great opportunity coming up in Japan. Chip, freaking veteran, who is well known throughout everywhere around Southeast. Even though he is doing this little, the bad boy thing, which I do dig.
Here we go, GB.
He's always,
I know.
I mean, I do. I really like this side of Chip. I do. I like this. He's not going to take any crap, and he's going to tell you how he feels. I like it. But he is taking the time to help the younger guys come up, and Sean's younger than Chip, of course. And this whole match, and I want to say this, and I hope nobody gets offended, but right now, there were a lot of disrespectful to me chants about boring during this match, and I don't understand that. This was an amazing wrestling match.
I will say, Diana, I'm pretty sure the same fan that was giving him the business during during the promo, it was coming from that direction. And it was funny because during the match,
all over.
There was a couple of times during the match where he would like yell something back to that direction. And it was just one of those things where I feel like 98% of the fans were loving it. And then there was that tiny little 2% that were just like,
there was that one side, but there was also, I was hearing it from my side as well. And I was just getting so aggravated. I was like, do you guys even know what wrestling was before it's the big, the show Smoke and Mirrors it is most of the time now? Go back and watch some of the stuff that trained these guys and see why they're so good, for one. But this match altogether was just top to bottom, bell to bell, regardless of the bad shot underneath by Chip. The whole match, I'd watch it again 3 or 4 times over. It was that good. It was that good.
It really was a phenomenal match. And I think sometimes I am often amazed at how short the memory of people really happens to be.
Yes.
It was 2 years ago when we weren't sure if we'd be able to have live wrestling again. We thought about doing an empty arena show. That couldn't work. We didn't get to do a show for about 5 months. And it's amazing to me how familiar and over familiar people will get in a heartbeat when they don't recognize, wait a minute, there was a time just a couple of years ago where we couldn't sit in this building, where we had to wear masks, where we couldn't touch the wrestlers or risk being thrown out. I think, well, let me just say this. I am very glad that Chip is enough of a veteran to know, no, y'all are going to get this. Y'all are going to get this match and you're going to like it. And if you don't like it, too bad, so sad. He didn't feel the need to alter his plan, in terms of how he was going to approach the match. And I have great respect for that. I think what happens sometimes is some people, are so accustomed to an appetite of candy and cake and cookies that when you give them fruits and vegetables, they say, oh, this is boring. Oh, this isn't fun. Oh, I don't like it. Well, let me tell you, if you get an entire show full of candy, an entire meal filled with candy and ice cream and cake and frosting, hey, it'll taste good for you for a minute, but you're about to be very unhealthy and you won't be able to enjoy much anymore. You need a variety in your meals. And that is what I love about Southern Honor. We're not going to get a death match every match or every month. You know, we're not going to get, you know, a dishonor rules match. We're going to actually get some great wrestling. That's going to actually happen. And I think it's unfortunate that there are some people, and it's not everybody in our SHW faithful, but there's always a few who, you know, don't seem to be maturing in the way that our fan base is known to mature. So thank you to our wrestlers for not paying attention to that, for doing what they do. I'm glad we continue to do what we do, and they'll be okay. Because what will likely happen is they'll pay their money and be back in January.
And that's good.
And I
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I totally enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Well, I think one of the things that impressed me the most, I talked about just how far Sean Legacy has come since I've seen him over the last few years. And the fact that you're in there with one of the best technical wrestlers, arguably in the entire country, and you went toe to toe, step for step, hold for hold with him. I mean, I was like, holy cow. I mean, you know, we expect it when Kyle's in there with Chip because Kyle's got that pedigree. He's got that reputation, you know, and to see Sean in there and to be able to keep up with Chip. And if Chip had not taken that shortcut at the very, very end, I think Sean might have had him. But, you know, Chip did take that shortcut. You know, he kind of turned a new leaf, or so we thought. And maybe he still kind of has, but at the same time, he's been on a losing streak, so he needed that win. So he did whatever he had to do to get it.
Just a little dig.
What the future holds for Chip Day at SHW, I'm not sure. But he's back on the winning track, so there's that.
Absolutely.
But moving on to the big main event, leading into this show, actually just a couple of weeks out from the show, we found out we were going to be guaranteed a new Southern Honor champion, that being because our champion at the time, Cruel, suffered an injury and it was going to require some time away. So the powers that be had him relinquish the title and came up with this 5-way scramble, elimination scramble. And the competitors were your number one contender, Kyle Matthews, who we had on the show the week before, SHW46. You have Gunnar Miller. And then you had 3 members of Dishonor, Carly Bravo, Sunny Days, and Sal Renaro, which, by the way, Friday was also Carly's birthday. And we thought, hey, what kind of, how would this be for a nice birthday present to become the new champ? But at the same time, it was also Kyle Matthews' 20th anniversary in wrestling. And his young daughter was there watching him compete for the first time ever live. So how cool would it have been if he had won? But then also you have Gunnar Miller, who's been on this 3-year trek since coming back to wrestling. He'd been gone for a couple of years. He returned solely to Southern Honor. He only wrestles at Southern Honor. He'll tell you himself he does 12 matches a year, every month at Southern Honor, and that's it. He doesn't wrestle anywhere else. And he's been through the ups and downs. He's been distracted with this and that. And could this be the moment, the crowning moment that he's been trying for 3 years? And then don't forget about the tag team champions, Happy Madness, who, you know, them along with Carly Bravo were going to be a headache for anybody else not in Dishonor. So, but the big question going into the main event, after what happened at the top of the show, would Gunnar Miller make it into the main event? And to start things out, GB, it did not appear to be that way. We thought we were going to have a 4-way match.
Absolutely, where it looked almost like a glorified 3-on-1 handicap match. And it was very, very clear, very early, what the plan was. And the plan was for Dishonor to eliminate Kyle Matthews. And they worked hard, but Kyle Matthews showed grit. Kyle Matthews showed heart. And when he got that first pin over Sunny Days, I think we all thought, oh my God, he's going to do it. Like this is going to happen. He's going to overcome the odds, because at this point we had not seen Gunnar Miller. We made the same matter of fact, they played his music, and Diana was going to announce him.
I was waiting.
Todd Sexton came out and said, nope, he's not coming. So that is what gave us the indicator that it was just us four and no more. And so that would end up changing once, and we all were shocked that Kyle Matthews would get pinned. And when he got pinned, it left us down to 2.
You know, and right before that, I believe it was Sal. He had that Hidaka lock, that octopus stretch. Yeah. And I thought, man, if Sal taps right here, then it's down to Carly and Kyle. He made me a believer, because throughout the majority of the first 3/4 of the match, when he's outnumbered 3-1, and he's just getting beat down and beat down and beat down, but he kept kicking out.
Yes.
And didn't he have Carly and Sal in a submission hold together?
All 3 at one point. He had all 3 members of Dishonor in a submission at one point. I think there's pictures of it, and whenever it gets released on IWTV, you got to check it out. It was incredible. And the fortitude of Kyle Matthews to keep kicking out after the beatdown he was taking. And when he eliminated Sunny Days, I thought the roof was going to come off, because then I think everybody started thinking, oh wait, he's going to do it. He might do this. And he had Sal in that lock, and I thought Sal was going to tap, and I think Carly broke it up finally. Yeah. But man, it was like so close. And then they eliminated Kyle, and then we thought, GB, I didn't know if it was like a finger poke of doom situation where it looked like Sal was just going to lay down for Carly, and then well, you take it from there.
Yeah, and so, going back to how the night started, after the beatdown that took place, at the top of the ramp, you had Dishonor with Brooklyn holding the championship belt and literally handing it to Carly Bravo. And we all were wondering, is this the plan? Is this what they are going to ultimately do? And it looked like we were very close to seeing that happen. The referee counted 1, the referee counted 2, and then the music hits, and all of a sudden, Gunnar Miller shows up, and it shocked everybody. And Gunnar Miller came in as the proverbial house of fire with a messed up ankle and all.
Yeah, I mean, and it got loud when that music hit the second time.
Sure did.
And he came out, that one that I don't remember which side it was, left or right, but it was all taped up. Yeah. And I mean, he came in there, double spears, jackhammer on one leg, like it was that time when he was trying to jackhammer Carly.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get him to start with because his leg kind of gave out. And then he just muscled him up. And that one leg, he ended up doing it. It looked like on one leg just about. And, finally, after 3 years, there's your winner. And Diana said, and new.
She said, and
new.
Yeah.
That's right. That was amazing.
And then the moment we talked about at the beginning of the show, the moment, and we talk about it all the time, it's all about moments,
Yes.
People might not remember certain parts of certain matches, but they'll remember moments. And at the end, Marcus, Gunnar's son, hops over the railing, jumps up in the ring, is holding the belt. He's up on the second rope.
Heartstrings. Oh my God.
I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome.
But my favorite moment is when they were leaving and they were up on the ramp and Marcus did the with it. Oh my God, that was just
it was awesome.
It was so good.
It was so cool.
We have a new SHW champion, Gunnar Miller.
But here's the thing, and we still did kind of get to go out on that high note with the visual of Gunnar and his son up on the stage. But just prior to that, during the celebration, because she just felt she had to get the final word in for the show. Of course, Brooklyn grabbed a microphone, and GB, you want to fill the crowd in as to what she had to tell us in case they missed it?
Because I'm sure you've been dying all night to do that. It was a moment that was shocking. She reminded everyone that even though Gunnar has the championship, she is still the booker. She has the power to make matches. And so she made a match that none of us expected. She mentioned that the champion would be in a tag team match. She was feeling her whole Teddy Long vibe there, but I don't know that Teddy Long has ever made a tag match quite like this. So she said it would be our champion Gunnar Miller teaming with the owner of the company, Gary Lamb, to take on the SHW Tag Team Champions, Happy Madness, and the Booker, Brooklyn. And then if that wasn't enough, she said that Gunner can pick a third partner, but that partner cannot be a current part of the SHW roster. Everybody just had this look on their face like,
yep.
All of these questions that have come up. You know, Gary Lamb has been Gary Lamb has said for years he will never step in a ring for a match. And I guess he never anticipated.
Said he'll never wrestle.
Well, he did say that, and he said he would fight. We've seen some unorthodox matches under the reign of Brooklyn. This one, I think, takes the cake. I don't know who they end up picking. It's obviously someone not on the active roster. Who on earth could it be? That's a great question.
Now, GB, you were standing nearby.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were both still at the table when this happened.
Yeah.
I've been a little worried about this ever since last week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brooklyn was talking, kind of arguing with some of our fans at ringside after the show. People were kind of clearing out. She was kind of walking around, talking to some folks, talking to some of the crowd, and near us, telling these fans, pointing at us and going, well, GB and Brandon are not on the active roster, so they could end up being in this match. And I was like, wait a second. Hey, what is going on here? No, thanks. No, thanks.
Come
so
on,
hopefully,
Brandon, suit up.
No, I'm good.
Them boots,
the only suit I will put on is the green velvet. And no, I'm good. I don't need to be in the ring. Wow. Unless I'm doing an interview or something. I do not need to be competing in a ring.
Well, what we didn't think about is it could be you, Diana, to counteract Brooklyn.
Well, it could be a suggestion.
You were real quick to tell me to get in there, so hey, now
I'm not. You know what? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying it's to be an interesting suggestion.
My goodness.
I mean,
you hear that, folks?
I'm not a wrestler.
You're well trained.
And I told the fans were saying this too. I told them, I said, look, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not going to wrestle.
Neither is Gary.
Correct.
But that's all I'm going to say.
Well, and you don't have to be a wrestler.
I don't.
You don't have to be a wrestler. I don't want to create any havoc, but I'll just say, I know that if that does happen,
I'm interested.
She said, folks, and GB, you heard it too. She said, I'm not saying no.
Correct.
Wow.
I'm not saying no. I don't know if they want that. And it's not that I'm scared of anybody. I'm actually just scared of myself, because if I get into my emotions, I'm not very good at controlling that.
Which is what we kind of need, actually. We don't need the super nice Diana. We need Diana the Warrior.
It'd have to be something serious, Wonder Woman-ish. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
You heard it here first, guys. It could be
you're hearing it at all.
Yeah, well, I'll say this: plan to buy your tickets.
I was gonna say those AI pictures you guys had printed out. I mean, that gave you some ideas for some ring gear.
Can you imagine her entrance?
Oh. Anyways, we're just spitballing, folks. We're just spitballing here. You never know what's gonna happen. But that's January 6th, SHW47, and before too long, we're gonna be at SHW50. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And we're going to be in the new year. 2023 is right around the corner.
That's right. It will be the new year when we get to SHW47. Yes.
Yep. That's correct. And we do have a bunch of holidays coming up. So we may be a little hit or miss on when we do this show. But I do think, or at least in my mind, I have a plan to do some sort of year-end recap or something, perhaps the week before New Year's, maybe like a top 10 list or something like that. We'll come up with something, but it'll be fun. But I've got my Christmas Vacation shirt on.
I love that.
So enjoy your Christmas movies, enjoy your family, in case we don't talk to you before December 25th. But it was a fun show last week. It was a fun way to end the year with a new champ, and very, very exciting. So that's going to do it for all of us. Happy holidays to you and your loved ones.
Yes.
And until we see you next time, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.